Silly me, I had console capture on. Citizen Sleeper 2. Yeah, so the devs, this was first shown during a PC Games showcase, God, a long time ago, on like 2020 something, during a PC Games showcase. And, you know, I played Citizen Sleeper 1, as is on my channel. I played that and really liked it. And they decided to put out a hour-and-a-half long demo of the second one. I don't know what the story's going to consist of, but it's not going to be on the eye like it was in the first game. So my guess is that you're constantly traveling and you're on the escape for something. But nonetheless, I'm excited for this because it's more Citizen Sleeper, more of that gorgeous character art, more of the really good writing. I don't know if this game has voice acting or not, because the trailer did, but apparently the trailer for Citizen Sleeper 1 had voice acting, but the actual game didn't. So be prepared for a lot of reading. But yeah, this is available on Steam to go wishlist. I've wishlisted this for a while now. It's just I couldn't play it because there was no demo, but you know, we have one now, so that's nice. So let me just go ahead and change the stream category to do that. All right, so with that done, let's go check out Citizen Sleeper 2, eh? Difficulty. Was there difficulty modes in the first game? I don't think there was. Difficulty can be changed at any time from the pause menu. For those focused on the story, broken dice are worth 1. Broken dice. Higher stress tolerance. Death is disabled. Default to difficulty for those happy to be challenged. Broken dice cannot be used. Standard stress. Oh, I know what broken dice means. Broken dice, because, okay. So in the first game, and pretty much in the Citizen Sleeper universe, you are what's called a sleeper, a person whose consciousness was taken out of their real body and put into the body of a robot or an android, I guess. And your android body runs on a specific kind of fuel that is only ever really sold by the company that created your android body. And when in game, your capacity of power is really low, your dice and your rolls become unusable slowly, to the point where you only have one left, and then it's game over after that if you do not refuel. So that's part of the difficulty here, is that the dice in this game are broken. So that's what it refers to. It's been a minute since I played, so the term's a bit lost on me for a second. Standard stress tolerance. Death incurs a significant permanent penalty. And for those who want a tough and tactical challenge with no second chances, dice repairs require more components. Very low stress tolerance, double energy depletion. Death is permanent. So what I want to guess by this is that if you go the dangerous difficulty route, that means if you die, you have to start the game over completely. That's what reads to me. I could be wrong, and the devs would be baller for doing something like that, because I can't think of a game that's ever done that, actually. I'm gonna move my Ko-Fi thing up here. That works. Actually, no, because of the structure of the dialogue trees and stuff, how about here instead? Yeah, that works, kinda. It's opaque enough, that'll work. But yeah, essentially you're always running on a very low battery, and your rolls are determined by that. Now, by the end of the game, I was able to start making my own fuel, so the sleeper that I had in that game could never run out by the end. But that early game was very hit or miss, in not bad way, but hit or miss in terms of me being able to survive or not. So yeah, but I think the death is permanent thing does in fact imply that if you die, there's no restarting with that character. You have to start the game over again. So if that's the case, honestly, that's pretty cool. That's a cool idea. All right, let's go with risky, since that's the recommended one. All right. So now we have a class to choose, which is the other thing. So each sleeper has their own specific things that they're good at and or not good at. And these are the classes of that area. So we have operator, extractor, and machinist. I think these were the same ones from the first game. It's cool that you get to pick one in the demo. That's really nice. So engineering, interface, endure, intuit, and engage. I don't remember. I remember engineering is for stuff that's more of the labor intensive strength stuff. So pushing cargo. Interface is more of your digital stuff. So coding. Endure, I want to say, is your health. Intuit, I don't remember that. And engage, I don't remember that. So I don't. It's been a minute since I played Citizen Sleeper 1, so my apologies if I don't remember all of the stat stuff. That might need to get taught later. All right, reboot. Accrue stress and reroll your action dice. Reboot configuration, +1 stress, reroll lowest dice. Okay, so that's what that means. So add stress onto yourself, but you get to do a reroll. That's cool. All right, operator. Operator sleepers are built to work with drones and remote machines over local networks to perform corporate resource extraction from a distance. Operators have expertise in working with interfaces and computer systems, but are more physically fragile than other sleepers. Their reboot skill allows them to hack their own systems to re-roll dice, a risky but potentially powerful move. Sleepers assigned to operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. Then we have the extractor, the more physical endurance built. And I'm guessing this red line here means that you can't invest into this skill. Because in Citizen Sleeper 1, my character was so built out with skill points, I maxed out everything. So I'm guessing with the classes in this game, you straight up can't put skill points into this, or it starts out as a double negative that can become a positive. Like, I'm guessing that's what these plus and minus symbols mean. All right, so high endurance, high engineer, okay engineer and engage, and rally. Accrue stress to boost your crew dice. The hell's a crew dice? This we'll find out. Extractor sleepers are built to work at the coalface of corporate resource extraction, often in hard vacuum environments. Extractors have a high level of physical endurance, but their confidence means they struggle with tasks requiring intuition. Their rally skill allows them to motivate those in their team, boosting their crew dice. Sleepers assigned to extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, and have a high level of endurance. So, yeah, the more strength-built ones. And then I think my pick for the first game was machinist. So no engage, intuit good, interface good, engineer really good. And focus. Accrue stress to focus and action dice. +1 stress, +2 focus, lowers die. What does focus mean? There may be new mechanics, so that might be why. Machinist sleepers are built to repair and modify automated systems used in corporate resource extraction. Machinists are very skilled engineers, but their isolated work means they often struggle with tasks requiring a direct approach or social engagement. Their focus skill allows them to focus on a single task and boost their dice to excel in it. Oh, okay. Sleepers assigned to machinist work are usually diligent, careful, and structured people. Okay, so yeah, I think I went with machinist when I played the first game. I think so if I went machinist, maybe I should go with something different this time. I want to try extractor. Let's do that. Let's go with extractor. I also have to do a lot of sippies because this game's gonna require reading. All right. In the moment before waking, the dark space before conscious thought, you struggle to find the pieces of yourself. Usually, these pieces come with a particular cadence, each appearing sequentially, like the boot process of an old terminal. First, your body, artificial, compromised, but relaying sense data all the same. Next is context, the breeze of air filtration, the soft contact of your birth in zero-G, not breath, birth in zero-G. The emotion coming into focus, coming into your body, bringing with it that first instinct, the one that has framed your past 100 cycles, fear. But the familiar sequence does not arrive. Instead, you are unmoored in space, your body distant, your context silent, even your emotions somehow obscured and scattered. Among all that disarray, only one familiar thing arrives: the fear. It is a scrambled, panicked fear. The drowning fear. The falling fear. The fear that makes you reach desperately for any stable point. It is the fear that tells you something is wrong. Something is very wrong with you. Wake up, sleeper. The voice is whispered in your ear, an act that makes you suddenly aware of your head, pulsing in pain, your body rigid with tension. Sleeper, a familiar name. A mind copied, emulated, a body built, implanted. One person, sleeping, until their dead is worked away, their double being made to work, to be consumed, and eventually to be destroyed. A proxy, an emulation, a sleeper. That is what you are. Okay, so no, I was kind of right. So yeah, a sleeper is a person who likely accrued some kind of debt or has to work off something, and maybe because the work involved would be too dangerous for a normal human body, their consciousness gets dumped into an artificial body to do stuff like really heavy lifting, interfacing more directly with software, or working with machines that are very, very, very dangerous. So it's like that. So their body is sleeping, but their artificial body is doing all the work because it's got their consciousness in it. But you escaped. You remember that now. You broke free of your corporate creators, S&ARP, in search of a future. You cannot remember the details of your escape, but you know the fear has been with you ever since you did. All of a sudden, you remember you have eyes, and your eyes flicker open. Pale eyes in a pale face. Lane. The name comes with its own specific sensation of fear. One you recoil from instinctively. Sorry to interrupt. A smirk. A sharp smirk. God, the character art in this game is fucking gorgeous. It's so cool. But this ends here. You search your mind for more than a name. Is this how you reward me for my generosity? Lane is leaning over your horizontal floating body, looking down into your eyes. I took you in, protected you, gave you a purpose. You try to look away, to the corners of your vision, to find something you understand. Your body does not respond, but I suppose that wasn't enough. He reaches into the pocket of his jacket to retrieve a small vial. This wasn't enough. The vial glitters. This object you know, and have known for a long time. Stabilizer, the drug that keeps your artificial body, your emulated mind, from inevitable decay. The only balm for your planned obsolescence. Obsolescence? I think that's it. The liquid roiling in the vial fills you with disgust. Lane pockets the vial. But it would be a waste on you now, after what you have done to this body of yours. He looks at you with a palpable disgust. Lane's eyes scan your body, and as they do, you become aware of the wires and tubes attached to you. Those that were meant to free you from your dependence from the stabilizer and the control it grants Lane. They are free, you piece of They're free, you piece of shit! They don't need you anymore! The voice comes from somewhere behind Lane's head. It is a voice you know, but when you search your mind to try to understand to try to understand why you only find dizzying darkness. "Shut him up," Lane barks the command, and you hear sounds of impact, of pain from elsewhere in the room. You try to move your limbs again, and this time you feel a flicker, the twitch of a finger. You feel the extension and compression of synthetic muscle. "Free, are you?" Lane smirks. "You were free when I disabled your tracker, when I gave you the stabilizer you needed." He scans your body with angry eyes. "Now you aren't free. You're just broken." "I had such plans for you, Sleeper. I invested in you." Lane grips your arm hard and you feel a jolt of reaction. You will the arm to move, but you have ruined all of that. Lane speaks louder over the sound of the struggling behind him. "I will try to preserve your body, of course. I have my own uses for it. But your emulation?" You feel one of his hands searching behind your head. He finds and grips the thick cable running into the port in the base of your skull. "I will burn that out." Lane jerks forward, slamming you across your body. Lane jerks forward, slamming across your body, then spinning away out of sight. You feel yourself roiling, the cables plugged into you looping and wrapping around your limbs. Then you feel hands steadying you, pulling cables. You glance around wildly and see someone diligently unplugging you. You meet his eyes. "Hey." He waves a hand in your dazed face. "We need to move. Lane won't be out long." He unloops a cable from around your wrist. "Sleeper, help me out here." You blink slowly. "Do you know this person?" Also, I don't think there's a quote. There was no quote here. He leans over you and you feel his hands on the connector, flicking switches, releasing locks. Come on. He tugs the connector clear and pulls you free. You see the room you were in for the first time, filled with tech and terminals, wires waving everywhere, all lit by big windows looking out on an impossibly bright, screen-filled street beyond. In the corner, you see the dark shape of a floating body, surrounded by a glittering constellation of crimson baubles. Is that blood? Move! You are wrestled and shoved towards the door, which slides open in front of you, and then you are out in all that brightness, all that movement, gliding hard towards some unknown destination. You come to a stop in a dark alley, the one who guided you here, pausing, catching his breath. He doubles over beside a massive life support unit that sends a lukewarm breeze across your skin. You stare at him, trying to recall anything about him. You notice his tattered jacket, his lightweight clothes. You remember this station runs hot. Something about the power that flows through the place. He looks up and meets your eye. What's going on, Sleeper? He wipes sweat from his forehead and it floats away in a swarm of spheres. Talk to me. What was that? Who was that? You see a concerned frown cross his face. Lane? He blinks a few times. You're asking who Lane is? He comes closer, eyeing you carefully. What station are we on? He narrows his eyes, waits for an answer. You close your eyes, trying to recall. You force your way through the dark to the image of a station. No, a city, growing on the back of a vast set of hexagonal solar cells, shadowed by them. You open your eyes. Dark side. The word leaves your mouth like an exhale, an instinct. Before you heard yourself sound it out, you didn't know it was there. He sighs. And me? Who am I? You see something like fear in his eyes. Panic, perhaps. You stare hard at his face, the slight upturn of his mouth, the intensity of his stare. Nothing comes. He closes his eyes and drops his head, putting a hand to his temple. The reboot. Lane, he is speaking quietly to himself. Lane interrupted the process and... He lifts his head and stares at you. We need to keep going. We need to leave. He turns and kicks off down the alley. Come on, the rig can't be far. As you are led through the passages and service ways of the station, you try to recall your life here. The texture, the temperature of Darkside feels familiar, but you struggle to pin specific memories to it. Focusing hard, you recall waking up in these passages, cycle after cycle. The rhythms of the station flowing over you along with the crowds. You recall desperation and the slow decay of your body that caused it. Then Lane, those pale eyes, offering you a glittering vial, stabilizer, the promise of supplying more for your work. A deal he locked you into like a cage. There, your memory fails you, but in the dark beyond that moment, the residue of fails you, but in the dark beyond that moment, the residue of panic, of fear, remains. You were Lane's prisoner, Lane's plaything. You shudder in the cold passage. Hold. Your guide holds up a hand, and you stop your glide using the wall. Ahead, you see the tunnel opens up into a wide open bay, with a few doors leading to cylindrical tunnels, the docks. They're watching the rig. He nods towards the docks, and you see one of the doors has a couple of figures flanking it, one covered in ornate tattoos, the other with bright silver implants along their cheekbones. Usubo, Lane's guys. He looks at you and shakes his head in frustration. All this, it's not coming back to you, is it? He places a hand on his chest. I'm Seraphin, all right? He looks pained when he speaks. Lane, he was our captor, both of us. We did this so we could escape. We need to reboot you, to break your dependence on stabilizer. He pauses. You know what that is, right? You nod meekly. But Lane interrupted me back there. The reboot didn't complete and... He sighs and shakes his head. Ad coming up in 5 minutes, by the by. We can still make this work. He looks back at the docks. I'll lead them away. You get the dock bridge open. If we make it to the rig, I know how to get us in. Got that? He searches your face for a sign of recognition. What's the rig? Seraphin looks annoyed. A ship. Our ship. Or at least it soon will be. Lane assigned it to us when we were on jobs for him. Get that door open. He pats you on the shoulder. I know you can do this. Seraphin kicks off hard and glides into the docks. Over here, shitheads! He bellows to the guards as he barrels through. They immediately push off from the wall, giving chase. You wait a breath, then glide across to the door they were guarding. You look, already panicked at the tightly sealed door, its control panel locked out. You hear a shout from somewhere nearby. You need to get it open. Alright, tutorial. During scenes, you may encounter skill checks where you can perform certain actions using your skills, like the dice actions you will encounter later. Skill checks have a positive, neutral, or negative outcome, and that depends on the rolls that you've got. The better the rating of your skills, the more likely you will succeed on a check. The odds of success are displayed when you select the check. You can see more in the guide. You can see more info in the guide section of the pause menu. So, okay, so that's what this means. So the determined skills ability is what this whole minus and plus system is. Okay, let's go with that. There we go. So yeah, you have positive, which is like something like you pass it and you get an extra thing. Neutral is you just pass your check, and then negative is you fail it. So that's how that works. You shift to the central access panel and wrench it open. You scan over the mechanism looking for a weakness. Somewhere you hear more shouting. You reach in and grab the main latch, straining as you bend it outward. The seal releases and you drag the door halfway open. It screeches in its metal frame as you pull. Go! Go! Seraphin flies past you through the doorway into the docking tunnel. You turn to see two guards approaching fast across the docks, and quickly glide after Seraphin. Seraphin is already at the rig's door, inputting an entry code. The rig's doors scissor open, and you both rush inside. Quickly! Seraphin grabs you by the arm and drags you up to the cockpit. Ship's layout hazy in your mind. He dumps you in a flight seat and straps himself into his own. You see him tap a series of buttons as he does, talking to himself. Come on. The rig's drive rumbles to life, and Seraphin slams a button on the console. You feel the force of the ship's acceleration as it pulls away. Oh, so we're on the run from some kind of crime boss. Yeah, okay. And there's our rolls. So Citizen Sleeper is a pretty interesting RPG where you don't really have random chances with just 1 dice to use. You instead have 5 dice. And I think in the previous game it was 6, where you already have predetermined rolls that are here. So you have a 3, a 1, a 5, 5, 6. A 6 is your pass no matter what. A 1 is, or no, it's, it was 2 and 1 is your more low-end potential failures. 3 and 4 are your more neutral ones. 5 and 6 are guaranteed passes. I don't know what these little bars at the bottom mean, but yeah, that's the dice system. You essentially get to control your own passing and fails, which is pretty cool. It's a really cool idea. I like it. So, yeah. But right now, the ad's coming up in about half a minute, so I'll go ahead and put up the BRB, so use this time to get yourself some water, use the restroom if you need to, or what have you, med check if need be, and yeah, a bit early to start the ad break, but I want to get it now before I get too into the game and accidentally forget to put on the BRB. So, yeah, BRB everybody. And we're back. Thank you for your patience, everybody. So, let's get back in, shall we? So we just landed on a different station, I guess, out in a different part of space. As the ship glides into place on the connecting bridge, its automatic systems nudged there by the port's docking protocols, you feel a sense of relief. Seraphim burned hard out of dark side, and you dropped in and out of consciousness in your seat as the rig made its way across the belt. But now, with open space between you and Lane, you feel fresher, more awake. Seraphim breaks the silence. We're good, Sleeper. His eyes don't leave the monitor, and you realize this part of your escape is routine for him. You and he must have docked this ship countless times in your work for Lane. The problem is, you don't remember any of them. We made it, he whispers, closing his eyes and letting out a sigh. You certainly did. He turns and you see a panicked look on his face, as if remembering something difficult. Had you said this exact thing to him before? In the same situation? Are you okay? He looks at you, chewing one side of his lip, searching your face. Not really, he puffs. Seraphim reaches up, flicking through a set of switches in a practiced fashion, completing the shutdown. You watch, a little frustrated with your own uselessness. Running the rig, you realize is just another thing you've forgotten. A clunk that runs through the walls of the ship is followed by a short, percussive alarm tone from the pilot's console. Docking complete. Seraphim kicks off from his seat, twisting as he glides past you towards the back of the cockpit. His hands find the rails on either side of the door and he pauses, facing into the corridor beyond. He turns back to you, backlit in cold cyan. We need a plan. He glances around. Lane's not going to let us slip away quietly. He sighs. We need to talk. Seraphim furrows his brow. Not now, Sleeper. We need to forget. He flinches, the words coming out wrong. We need to focus on something other than... He pauses again, unsure. Us. He sighs. We need to survive this thing first. Then maybe we can talk. Fine by me. Seraphim nods, but the tension remains. We've bought ourselves some time. He glances through the cockpit window at the blinking lights of the station. You may not remember Hexport, but I do. And there's plenty of opportunities here for us. If we can keep our heads down... He turns back to the corridor. That's what we'll do. He pushes off and glides towards the main lock, and you follow, pulling yourself along, hand over hand in 0G. We already emptied the tank on this thing. He slaps a hand against the ship's inside. So we need to refuel, and that won't be cheap. But if you and I know one thing, Sleeper, it's how to work. I'm gonna get myself reacquainted, see if I can turn up any old connections. People that might throw us an easy contract. You... He glances back over his shoulder. You keep out of trouble. Low profile, got it. Seraphim stops at the airlock. Stopping the reboot halfway through. He pulls a worn crew jacket from a locker and starts pulling on it. We don't know what that did to you. He jams an arm into his sleeve. I don't want you passing out in... He stops. I'll be fine. Seraphim drops his head, swearing to himself. He grabs another crew jacket and thrusts it at you. Just put the damn hood up, will you? You take it and slip it on. Stay silent. Seraphim stabs at the button to open the lock. The inner door hisses open, and Seraphim glides through. Wait for a little bit, then leave. Anyone looking for us will be looking for two people traveling together. He looks at you in your worn crew jacket, a limited disguise for what is clearly a sleeper. We meet back here later. Any trouble? Same thing. Meet here. He takes another look at your disguise and shakes his head. This is a shitty idea. He gives you one last look. Maybe find yourself something to eat. Suddenly you realize Seraphim's instinct to look after you. Suddenly you recognize Seraphim's instinct to look after you. A flash of a relationship now lost to the reboot. Catch. Seraphim throws a handful of something towards you. You manage to grab the projectiles, and when you open your hand, you see a stack of cryo chits. Those should get you some food. We'll need some more for fuel and supplies. He grimaces. That means odd jobs on the station for both of us. Seraphin kicks off and glides down the docking bridge. Don't go too far, all right? He shouts as he leaves. Take it slow. And with that, he is gone, leaving the connecting bridge and heading into the docking concourse of Hexport. You wait for a moment in silence. Think about Seraphin. It's hard to know what's going on inside Seraphin's head. Here he is, on some hapless escape plan with a friend who can't remember a thing about him. You try to imagine how close you both must have been for him to agree to this thing. But it is painful to think about. That's all gone now anyway. All you can do is move on. You shake the thoughts from your head and pull the jacket tight. Let's see what Hexport has to offer. You kick off and glide into the port. So yeah, the general structure of most of this is that pretty much the entire game can be played on the mouse. So if you only want a game with the mouse, this is a game for you. Alright, tutorial. Welcome to Citizen Sleeper 2, Steward Vector. The game runs in cycles, during which you can perform actions with your dice, using cryo to buy food, fuel, supplies, and items. Progress clocks towards new scenes and events. You can review tutorials at any time in the guide section of the pause menu. So yeah, there are events that will eventually tick down to the point where you'll have to see them later. So take this one for instance. The rig is our ship, and this ring here will slowly fill with a bar and different little sections. And when all of those sections are filled up entirely, an event will happen here that I have to go witness myself. So yeah. All right, so how much cryo have we got? 43. Fuel. So that's fuel for our ship, and then supplies. Hexport docks, Hexport exchange, and that's all we have. Let's go to the exchange. Tutorial. In Citizen Sleeper 2, you perform actions by assigning action dice to them. The higher the dice you assign, the more likely you will succeed at an action, but your dice will be modified by your skill. Your skill modifier for the action is displayed on the right and will reduce or increase the value of the dice assigned to the action. Like skill checks, dice actions have 3 outcomes: positive, negative, and neutral. Each action is also rated safe, risky, or dangerous. Based on the outcome it has, the more dangerous an action is, the more significant both its rewards and consequences are. For more information on dice actions, check the guide section of the pause menu. So yeah, if it's a skill that's dangerous, it will likely cause me potential bodily harm or circuitry harm, if we're talking sleeper stuff. But if it's a risky one, it's less it's like risk versus reward, less of a risk versus less of a reward, and then a very safe option, which would be no risk and a very minimal reward. So that's how that works. And this button here, or not button, this bar here signifies a increase that's done based on the dice rolls that you've done in a particular area. Meaning when this is full, an event will happen, whether that's meeting a new character, unlocking a new section of an area you're in, potentially getting more of a resource after you wait a period of time. So it's worth it to invest into these when you can. So yeah, let's go ahead and assign a 5 roll to this engineering check, because we have a either positive. Actually, yeah, okay, so no, I was wrong. So 5 is positive or neutral, and then 6 is win no matter what. So 6 is the highest, 1 lowest, like this. So, and then you go 3 for that, yeah. And these rolls are randomly generated from between 1 and 6 each time you wake up in a cycle, which is this game's day and night cycle. Wow, that's a I am fumbling my words tonight. Let's just go with a 5. Oh, those noises are so nostalgic for me. So yeah, buy some scrap. some small components and resell them, losing cryo but gaining some contacts among the brokers. And then, I'm guessing because this is a negative thing, yeah, okay, so if a skill is negative in that sense, it will reduce our roll, even to the 6. So a 6 is not a critical win. This is not Baldur's Gate 3. We'll try this next with a 3. Yeah, so I lose energy if I had a negative outcome. So it still progresses, you just don't progress as much, but you also got a detriment that happened, like, just now. Alright, so let's try this again. Alright, and I also gained cryo because that was a very positive outcome. So, that's how that works. And we've got a trade hall. So this is how this works. Buy supplies, fill supplies. Okay, so we can either buy individual or fill completely. Let's buy some fuel. We'll buy 3 fuels. And we've already got 2 supplies, so we'll stick with that for now. And the canteen, which is where we will have to eat. So let's get some food. You can eat in exchange for cryo. Eating gives you energy and stops you starving. Cool. And our energy's filled. So, yeah, there's that. And Hexport docks. Plenty of crews milling around the docks moving cargo. They could be a good source of info. Is that? No. So yeah, I'm guessing the positive and negative stuff, if I had a positive outcome with the, this for the skill boost, the 1 would become a 2 or a 3 depending on how many pluses are assigned to those skills. So let's go with this to get a 100% positive out of this. And we'll throw 1 here, since it can't go lower. Yeah, I figured that would happen. So, now that my dice are all used, I need to end the cycle so I can rest and re-roll, and get more re-rolls out of it. The bends. What's this? This is new. Playstar and Stoker. The space gambling game. Oh! Okay, so a highly luck-based thing. Got it. Ooh, this music. So yeah, that's kind of the general cycle of Citizen Sleeper. You spend your action dice to do stuff, and when you're done, you try to sleep it off and go somewhere else. The rig is your ship and home in the Steward Belt. While the rig is docked at a hub, there are multiple areas you can visit. Bunks use dice to reduce stress. Galley use supplies to regain energy. Other locations will unlock as you play. While the rig is in dock at a hub, your crew will also help to gather resources to contribute to the upkeep of the ship. You can choose which resources they should focus on in the crew action menu on the top left, or to the left. They have a random chance of acquiring it at the beginning of the following cycle. So, Seraphim, and I'm guessing we probably get 2 or 3 more crew members, judging by how much space is left here in the final game. So, yeah, I can assign Seraphim to do odd jobs to get cryo, scavenge fuel to get fuel, and source supplies to get more supplies. So that's neat. But we need some money to start. But yeah, that's it. End the cycle. We're in trouble, Sleeper. Seraphim leans into the berths as you are getting out of your bunk. Without further explanation, he disappears down the corridor towards the rear of the ship. You drift out into the passage, pulling on your clothes and gliding down the length of the ship, cool air making you shiver. Seraphin is a silhouette silently leading the way. He stops at the far end, diverting through a side door, shooting you a glance as he does. You find Seraphin inside, holding one of a tangle of arm-thick tubes that you are waving in that are waving in the 0G. You know what these are? Fuel pipes? Close enough. Seraphin shrugs. These are the engine's feed lines. He waves one in the air, and before you ask, no, they aren't supposed to be waggling loose. What happened? These must have broken loose when we pushed the ship hard on our way out of Darkside. He looks at the mess. We are lucky the reserve tank is empty. Otherwise, he shakes his head. It would have been bad. But he pushes the pipe to the side. No feed from the reserve tank means that the rig's range is limited to only local region only. He thumbs the large, lumpen housing of the engine. This thing can't take us anywhere far. So we fix it? Seraphin sighs. That's the short of it. Seraphin whacks the engine housing again. Harder this time. Harder this time. Just not been our run of luck. He turns and starts gathering the tangled feed lines, his frustration evident in the violence of his movements. We will need a new set of these, that's for sure. He starts forcing them into a crate. So how about you try to track them down? I'll take a look at things here and see if I can figure out another fix for the reserve tank. He glances up from his work. From what I heard on Hexport, Factory Row is the place to find ship fitters. Maybe you can do some recon while I sort this place out. It's on the other end of the station. I'll take a look. Seraphin keeps working. Wait! Seraphin pauses, seemingly unsure. There's something else. He drops the feed line and they float, waving in the air like tubular seaweed. I've heard word that Lane's on the hunt. He frowns. A message went out to everywhere in the local radius of Darkside. He's looking for us. Shit. You said it. Seraphin sighs. Which is why we need those feed lines. I'm going to try to work something out. Maybe I can improvise a solution. I don't know. He looks down. I'm no ship fitter. But while I do, you go hunting. See what you can turn up, okay? He smiles a weak smile. Now get out of here. You leave the engine room, the clanking sound of Seraphin's cleanup efforts echoing through the ship. Fuel feed lines. That's the next step. You take a deep breath and head out. You have discovered a drive. Drives help you track and choose your objectives in Citizen Sleeper 2. Press the arrow button on the top left to open the drive menu and choose which drive to track. Once a drive is tracked, a yellow marker will be placed above any location that relates to that drive. Drives come in two types, major and minor. On completion, a major drive rewards 2 upgrade points and a minor rewards 1. Keep an eye on the drive menu as you progress to see what new opportunities and objectives are available, and track those you want to pursue. Oh, that's nice. So yeah, like quite literally all of the stuff here is, hey, here's active, here's complete. So, and if it has all the relations of stuff, how do I get out of here? Let's see the engine. Okay, so yeah, we need input lines. Rig bunks. Sometimes it is necessary to rest, or at least try to. In the compact bunks of the rig, this will help you reduce stress. Okay, so that's just napping. Make a meal. Not right now. How do I get out of here? Oh! Belt unavailable. Okay, so we have a full-ass map. That's not right. And then this is our stat screen, where we can get to upgrade things when we have the points to do so. Tutorial. Welcome to the character screen. Here you can upgrade and configure your sleeper. On the left, you can upgrade your skills to improve the skill modifier applied to your dice when you undertake an action. To the right, you can upgrade your push, the unique ability of your class. When you upgrade your push, only one upgrade at each level can be active at once. You can configure which upgrade is active only at the hub. All right, so yeah, this is how you level up. All right, there. Now I can get it. Now I'm out. Factory row, the bends, the docks. Well, we're halfway on this. Oh my god, my rolls. Oh no. Oh, that's unfortunate. Oh, look at those rolls. Oh no. Shit, that's not good. I'm saving the 5. What's here? Okay, we've got a modifier. Let's do this. Oh, that's a bad outcome. Yeah, because that's the thing, is that sometimes with your sleep, you wake up and you get bad rolls. And I think at one point in Citizen Sleeper 1, you could gain the ability to re-roll your bad rolls to, you know, have something different, but it was only once, so you had to really pick and choose. All right, let's go 100% positive on this. There we go. And we got more stuff. Drink a little water real quick. Also, is the audio level balanced? Does it sound okay? Because the sound effects are a tad loud for me. Actually. Perfect. Wonderful. That's perfect, actually. Actually, I'll lower the music volume while I'm here. I do like the music, so I want to keep it relatively high. Factory row howls as you walk through its cramped passages. Whatever its many bays and rooms once were, they now serve as containers for industry of every kind. Whirring manufactories, precisely engineering components with rapid shifting arms, while scrappers hammer incessantly at bent ship plates. Everywhere you look, there is synergy. Synergy? Well, kind of synergy. Everywhere you look, there's energy and activity. And for good reason. Hexport itself is built on the derelict fragments of a solar reflector. And even the small amount of energy generated by its remaining mirrors is enough to power a city of machines. It is familiar to you, of course, in a strange, far-off way, because of Darkside. That place and your memories of it are a muddy haze. But it is hard to forget the glint of its hexagonal reflectors, 10 or 20 times more in number than Hexport, and that wild, flickering city growing on their back like a tumor. In comparison, Hexport feels provincial, but deep in Factory Row, you could almost be back in Darkside. And then you see them, tubes just like those Seraphim had waved in your face, the feed lines. You push over to the display window of the unit marked Karsten Supply in block capitals cut from hull plate. There, amongst an angled shelf of oversized ship components, sits the feed lines, like some large biomechanical tangle of snakes. You slip inside, where the sound of Factory Row is a little screened and spot of a large figure working at the bench, hunched over and concentrated. It seems he didn't notice you enter. Hello? A sharp eye glints as the figure looks over their shoulder. God, I love the character art. It's so good. Oh, he's missing a finger, too. Can I help you? Can I help you? His accent is heavy, but unknown to you. Those feed lines, how much? There's a sharp clink as Karsten places his tools and the component against a magnetic plate on the wall. He turns with surprising grace and begins cleansing his hands on a cloth. Those sharp eyes scan you, but Karsten's thick-set features do not betray the results of his assessment. Custom built those, for a client that never collected. He looks at his hands while he speaks, checking for stray oil stains. You have one of those old MEVs, then? He sounds out of the letters. He sounds out the letters in a way you don't recognize as he speaks. You try to recall anything you know about your ship, but the memories elude you. Perhaps Seraphine should have come along. That's right. Karsten nods. Always good to see one of those still running. Look, Karsten drifts over to where you are standing, his imposing height evident. For a fellow enthusiast like you, he continues in a distinctive monotone. Let's say a few hundred cryo on clean chits. He shoots a glance at the feed lines. 400, let's say, to be precise. I don't have 400. Karsten looks you up and down and sniffs. It's expensive, I know. It's a shame, but it's just what they're worth. He screws up his mouth a little into something that might be a smile. However, I'm more of the bartering type myself anyway. Barter sounds good. Karsten nods sagely. Not sagely. Not sag like the emote, come on. There is a little favor I need a crew for, and, well, you look like you might be a good fit. He tucks the cloth away in a pocket and clasps his hands. I know of an old Solheim wreck out there. Real old. Pre-collapse. It's tucked away in a dead zone, so no one has ever really caught it. He shrugs. Not only that, but Solheim derelicts have a habit of triggering nasty security protocols when approached by unfamiliar ships. Or by an unfamiliar ship. So it's been left well alone. But a salvager like you, with an old Solheim rig, I bet it wouldn't even flinch if it saw you coming. He smiles. I have a special interest, a need for that old tech. All those Solheim ships had a data core, and while I don't care about the accounting reports or material ledgers or whatever they kept on the damn thing, I do care about the hardware. So if I was to find you back here with that data core in your cargo hold, clean cut and complete, well, then I could see my way to doing a straight barter for those feed lines. Karsten pauses, sniffs at the air again. You just need the coordinates. Simple as that? Simple as that, he repeats in his monotone way. So, you interested? He glances back at his workbench. Because I'm a busy man. I'll do it. All right, then. He holds out a heavy hand for you to shake, and as you automatically reach out, he grabs your forearm instead. Karsten pulls you closer, squeezing your arm. Let's keep this between us, all right? He half smiles, his face huge and close. It's our deal. Before you can respond, he thumbs a little drive in your palm. Those coordinates. And he lets go of your arm with what you swear is a wink. You take a moment to gather yourself, and by the time you do, a whirring fills the air, Karsten having returned to his workbench. You turn and glide out of Karsten's supply with a growing mix of anxiety and excitement in the pit of your stomach, and at the cacophony of Factory Row in your ears. A contract. Seraphine might even be impressed. You look at the drive in your palm and smile. This could be a route out. You think of leaving this place behind, in possession of an improved ship, too. Suddenly, a small but firm hand falls on your back, an equally small voice coming from it. Hey, wait up! You turn in the passage to see a young woman, her hair waving from the rapid glide she clearly just came out of to catch you. She steadies herself using your shoulder. Sorry. She smiles a quick and flat smile. Wanted to catch you. Again, look at the detail in this artwork. It's so good. I'm Junie. Her dark eyes flick around nervously. You notice the portable terminal she carries, something data scrapers call a deck, and her backpack full of components and trailing wires. Do I know you? She pauses, confused by the question. No, she pauses again. Karsten, she starts, still catching her breath. He sent me to grab you. She smiles that flat smile again. Wants me to come with you on that job. Her eyes shoot down into the drive in the palm of your hand. She smiles again. Why didn't he tell me? She glances back towards Karsten's. I guess he forgot? He does that sometimes. She looks sheepishly at you. He just grabbed me after you two were done talking, so... Karsten's always sending me on things like this. I guess he wants me to help you out. Keeps an eye on things. She pauses. I can be pretty helpful. So, she looks around the passageway. Should I meet you at your ship? And you can tell me when you're ready to go? I'm not sure. She looks nervous. Sure, I mean, you aren't sure when you were leaving? Sure, I mean, you aren't sure when you were leaving? I'm not sure you're coming. She pauses, thinking. I mean, Karsten said I need to go. She glances back in the shop's direction. And he does get pretty mad when people don't do what he asks. He didn't mention anything, and he could have forgotten, but we didn't hear any assistant at all. Let's see. Okay, she glances around. Karsten doesn't like waiting, but it's up to you. Anyway, Junie pushes off and waves. Looking forward to working with you, she calls back as an afterthought. Let her go. You watch her disappear down the passage. Things are getting complicated already, but at least you have a contract and a way to get the feed lines. Junie clearly works with data, based on the gear she was lugging around, which might make her useful when it comes to pulling out a data core. But the question is, what does she get out of it? And why didn't Karsten mention her sooner? Or Karsten. Karsten. You consider your options as you head back towards the rig. I don't know about this, Sleeper. Seraphin looks nervously out of the rig's window as you finish explaining Karsten's deal, as well as Junie's offer to help. If this job was easy, Karsten would have done it himself already. That means there's a catch. He frowns at the stars. And then there's something going on with this Junie girl. He shakes his head. What choice do we have? What if... Seraphin narrows his eyes. We could get the cryo together and buy the feed lines. Is that even possible? I found a contract board in the exchange, further in station. He gestures towards Hexport. We take on a job that might get us the most of the way towards buying those feed lines. Plus, even if we do want to take Karsten's job, a bit of money to get ourselves prepared wouldn't be a bad idea. Fill up on fuel, supplies. Be ready for whatever comes next. Do we have time? Probably not, but without cryo for fuel and supplies, we aren't going anywhere. Seraphin sighs. Just take a look around at the contract board, see what you think. While you're at it, you might want to see if you can scare up some freelance crew. Why scare up? That's not the word that I would associate with that. Seraphin shrugs. Many hands might make light work and all that. Or we stop messing around. We take Karsten's job right now and get it done before he can think twice. Seraphin yawns. Seems like a whole set of bad options to me. Either way, I've still got work to do on the drive. Seraphin nods a farewell, heading back to the engine room. Let me know what you decide. For a moment you pause, letting the haze of the plans and ideas settle in your mind. Suddenly you curl up, pain shooting along your spine. You grit your teeth, your muscles locked tight. Your vision narrows as you squeeze your eyes shut. You feel a shift, as if some connection is broken. It's almost impossible to describe, like you are floating away from your body, dispersing, dissolving. There's nothing familiar in this pain, nothing to hold on to. You grit your teeth. And then another shift comes and you are back in your body, trembling against the metal wall of the passage. The pain slowly fades, becoming a pulsing throb, and then a residual flicker. You flex in 0G, stretching out the tension. There's a strange sensation of distance that persists beyond the pain, a disconnection between your body and yourself, a flickering numbness that refuses to recede. You wonder if the reboot has done something to your body, or if this is some new sensation you will have to live with indefinitely. It strikes you that you know so little about the body that houses you. It could be moments away from collapse, or it might persevere for countless cycles like this. You try to shake off the feeling, pushing your hands against each other until they feel like they are yours again. Time is the only thing you need, and right now, it feels like it's running out fast. You head for the airlock. You have work to do. God, I love the writing in this game. It's so good. Love it. Contract board. Well, we're low on energy. We've got 36 cryo, so let's buy some fucking food. That's not the right... Well... Oh, and that's Ben's front... No. That's not the right thing. Let's buy some fucking food. There we go. Alright, Karsten Supply. Swift Scrap Soul. He is right. Seraphin's right. We do need a crew. So let's check the contract board. Conway signal. Station managements have located a Conway signal. They are concerned to see one so close and are looking for someone to disable its source. Oh, so they're like... Oh, so we have to pay for the contract to do it. Huh. Data diffusal shift. All scrapyards have paid data diffusal works as old techs tend to be laced with protocols and countermeasures that need disabling. Sell raw scrap. Well, I don't have raw scrap. And that's a negative modifier. Swift Scrap Solutions, or Triple S as it's known locally, is a chaotic and slightly terrifying scrapyard where open shifts are always available. And then Karsten Supply. Okay, so yeah, we do have two options. We either just buy it or get the data core. I feel like getting the data core might lead to a more interesting story situation. Let's buy a fuel. Let's do source of info. New location discovered. The warehouse at Hexport Docks supplies the the warehouse at Hexport Docks supplies the industrial operations of the station, meaning they need constant loading and restocking. Let's try that. Hey, got a little money. Yeah, I do like that you get to see what stats you're proficient in off to the side here. That's very nice. I don't know what this glitch thing is, though. So, this just takes us back to the rig, no problem. Sweet, I like that. That's nice. Alright, let's rest. Oh, look at those rolls. Yeah, those are good rolls. I like that. Do we want to take this job? Sure. This open contract for Hexport administration requires a fee to be paid to receive the coordinates for the job. Oh, I see. So yeah, since I now have a plus modifier, we'd go plus, and now we have a 4. Fuck yeah. But I don't want to spend my rolls right now. Bunks, engine. So if we only can do a local thing... Okay, so we've gotten that. I don't really know how we're supposed to go to the signal, though, because it's not indicating anything here. We'll buy some supplies, too. For one, that is insane amounts of money to have to spend. Alright, default data diffusal shift, scrapyard shift. Let's go with scrapyard shift, since that's a guaranteed. Oh, that's good money. And we'll do another one of these. since that can get this done. There we go. Alright. So yeah, having a positive outcome for those bars also means that you get 2 instead of 1, which is nice. As you are gliding across the docking concourse, you hear a scuffle. The noise of raised voices cuts through the conversation drifting out of the dockside shops. Glancing down an alley, you see a huddle of figures shouting back and forth. You spot one man in the middle of the group, surrounded, pushing the others back as they grab at the bags slung over his shoulder. You don't like the way this looks, but then again, Seraphin told you to keep your head low. Rush in. We'll try it, why not? Without thinking, you kick off and glide down the alley, nudging the parabola of your drift to aim directly into the back of the most aggressive assailant. You barrel down the alley, raising your arms for the impact, and as you do, your target turns back to face you. You see the flash of an implant cross in their eyes before you slam into them. The assailant grabs onto you as you hit them, and the two of you spin together in 0G, kicking and pulling at each other. You manage to get both legs up between the two of you and kick him off into the metal pipes behind. Then something hits you from behind, and the whole alley blurs as you spin forward. Through the ringing sound of the impact, you hear curses shouted in retreat. You steady yourself, and a heavy hand falls on your shoulder. Don't do that again. The man gives you a severe look, shaking his head at your eager attack. One of those scumbags knives you? I think that should be knife you. I don't want that on me. He pushes you aside in the corridor and throws a large bag over his shoulder. Sorry. The man shakes his head. You ain't seen sorry. Just step back, all right? You watch the man go, and then, after a moment, he stops and turns back. He rubs his forehead, looking down as he does. What's your deal anyway? He sighs. Maybe you were new here, but Hexport is no place for do-gooders. I know what it's like. To get beat up? The man shakes his head. Hexport's got real rough. Look, let's not hang around, all right? The man pats his chest. I'm Femi. He unshoulders one of the bags and pushes it towards you. Make yourself useful. Let's head. You get the strap of the bag over your shoulder and follow him through the docks, gliding past the concourse towards the connecting bridges. He cuts down a side passage, looking back to check you are following, then stops at a docking bridge connecting to a dull green ship with yellow markings. You look out the viewing window as its old catamaran-like shape. That's a word. Catamaran-like shape, seemingly built from two separate hulls welded together. Campbell Crash, he says, and you assume that's the ship's name. Femi, you bring in strays? A young woman, brightly dressed and stretching as she glides, drifts into the passage. She glances at you. No offense. I'm just gonna keep being blown away by this character art. It's so good. Like, just look at the... Just look. These character portraits are great. Also, like the little descriptor for the characters. All right, so Nia. Femi shakes his head. This one. You squeeze your shoulder. Help me fend off some Hexport scum while you were busy sunning yourself. Sunning? Oh, probably sunbathing. Nia raises an eyebrow. I'm sure you could handle them, big brother. Her glib response hides the flash of concern that passes across her face. You can't tell if Femi noticed. Nia turns to you. Thanks, she smiles sweetly. And I'm sorry for my brother. She shoots him a glance. Just in general. Nia, Femi murmurs, enough now. He reaches over and takes the bag you were carrying. Nia rolls her eyes at you, but stays silent. Factory Road wouldn't take these. Femi hefts the bag. I'm gonna load them back up. Maybe we'll find a use for them. He turns back to you. Thanks for the assist, Sleeper. He nods firmly. Not what I expected. He slaps the button for the bridge door and kicks off along the docking bridge on his way to the Kimball Crash. Nia looks at you with raised eyebrows. How my brother was joking. Or did you really help him? I tried. Thank you. She looks back at the ship. My brother needs help more than he admits. What do you mean? She tenses. I don't know if... She smiles a tight smile. I shouldn't have said anything. She pauses, thinking. I want to ask you something. She takes a deep breath, then gives you a direct look. What is she building up to? Are you looking for crew? She looks away. Sorry to be direct, but you seem like... Well, if you are on Hexport, maybe you are with a crew. She stops herself. I mean, maybe your crew needs crew. Maybe you're looking. Why do you ask? Nia looks back at the ship, then at you. Look, I'll be honest, being on a crew with my brother is nice, but he is suffocating me. She frowns at her own bluntness. I'm not a kid anymore, you know, but he still sees me like one. She shrugs. I want to show him I can handle myself. I need experience. I need to run some contracts. She gives you a determined look. What do you say? Shouldn't I ask your brother? That is exactly my point. She shakes her head. No, you should not have to ask my brother. Her eyes flare with anger. She catches herself. Sorry. She pauses. I'm a good salvager, all right? You can use me. She smiles. I can spot things, find gaps, ways in. She folds her arms across her chest. I know what I'm doing. Femi taught me well. She glances back at the ship. Just consider it, all right? Let me prove myself. Suddenly, a shout comes from the ship, echoing down the passage. Femi. He seems to make both of you nervous. Nia looks in his direction. I should go. She pushes off towards the docking bridge. I'll be waiting. Nia gives you one last glance as she departs, then disappears into the docking bridge, leaving you alone in the passage. Cool. So yeah, so we got a minor task done, so now we have a point available to put in what we want. So we'll put it in... Oh, wait, do I need 4 to... Oh, maybe I'm wrong about how this works. So I need to build up 4 to get to the next thing. Ah. And then it's 2 to get this stuff. I see. Yeah, I think that's fine, because in the first game it was really easy to get through all the skill trees because like the values for what you needed to get were like 1 or 2. So having it start at 4 is like, okay, you gotta really level up a lot to get all of the points you want. Let's see, so we've got 34 cryo. And now we've gotten Nia on board. Although she's not on the ship. Weird. Oh, this is it. Contracts are high-risk, high-reward jobs that you and your crew can take on. Contracts require preparation and care to succeed. You'll need to gather enough fuel to travel to the contract. Gather as many supplies as you can afford to keep you and your crew going. Look for opportunities to recruit crew, temporarily or permanently, to help you out on a contract. Consider which crew to take carefully. They have different skills and stress resistances, and who you choose can affect the story. Once you are ready, you can select the contract from the map and then your crew to proceed. I see, so that's how that works. Okay, so that takes 2 fuel, that takes 3, oh my god. Alright, well, let's start with a Conway signal. And we'll take... Can we... Okay. Okay, so only 1 crew. Travel to contract. Okay, so we actually have more traversal stuff this time, because in the first game we were just on one location only for this entire thing, which is really interesting to me. Alright. It's a drone. Seraphin spots the signal source first, the light barely shimmering off its dark hull plating, a design trait that betrays its covert use. A flash catches your attention, and you see a rent in the hull, through which red lights pulse. Wounded. Seraphin shakes his head. Wish they finished the job. You've seen one before? Seraphin looks back over his shoulder towards you. We've seen one before. Don't you... He sighs. Sorry, I know it's not your fault. He looks over at the drone. Lane had us work on one in a dark side bay, that was barely a shell, disarmed and deactivated. He had us searching through its guts for salvage. Even that one gave me the creeps, and it had its core ripped out. He pushes the ship closer. This one is still alive. Conway, Nia kisses her teeth. Corporate scum. I think that means hisses her teeth. Hisses through her teeth. That's the other thing, is that I noticed in Citizen Sleeper 1 there was some grammatical stuff, so there might need to be some rewrites to fix the script here too. You glance over at her and see the fire in her bright eyes. They don't even dare to come here and force us out themselves. It's all proxies and drones. She shakes her head. Typical core-bred cowards. Run into them before? She glances at you. You might say that. She looks out at the drone. You won't see me taking my eyes off that thing for a second. Seraphin carefully guides the ship closer. You watch the drone. System is full of these things now, running missions for their operations. Rare to see one out in the belt, though. Maybe got hit during a run-in with the Senet stat mercs. Also, we have an ad coming up in about 5 minutes. It looks like it's drifting. Most of the system's blown out. But look here. He jabs a finger towards a red light on the far side of the drone. It's still broadcasting. Maybe even receiving. How do we shut it off? Seraphin brings you even closer. What I remember from the dark side job is that the central core and the broadcast array need to be shut off to kill these things. Core will turn off local systems, and the broadcast array will sever the link with the Conway operators. Seraphin swallows. But you can bet those systems are protected. Let Seraphin explain. Your attention is suddenly drawn by a shudder from the drone, like a tremor running along its length. This thing is rigged to blow, Sleeper. He frowns. We go slow and careful, and we don't touch anything we don't know about. He turns back to Nia. You hear that? I got you. She looks sincere. Seraphin brings the rig to a stop, close enough for you to cross through open space to reach the hull of the drone. Let's suit up. You head down to the airlock to prepare. As you get suited up, you think of the corporate war taking place in the inner system, the war that this drone was driven from. Out here on the shore of the conflict, the biggest danger is that this flotsam and jetsam drifting in with the tides and orbits of the system might, one cycle, bring the war with it. Oh, so there's a corporate war going on right now, and a lot of these people that are living on the hex plates, on Hexport, Darkside, or the Eye even, are just on the outskirts of everything trying to live, and these drones will bring war with it when they get, bonked away into a different part of the galaxy. Cool! For now, the belt is outside of its reach, but looking out at the red pulsing drone, that doesn't give you much comfort. All right, welcome to your first contract. While on a contract, you will be able to assign 2 dice for each crew member as you would assign your own dice. Pay attention to the crew's skills to use them effectively. On certain outcomes, crew will take crew stress. When their stress is full, you will no longer be able to use them to perform actions. While on a contract, your energy bar will automatically be supplied for each cycle that you have available supplies. When your supplies are depleted, both you and your crew will take 1 stress per cycle. Contracts also have their own contract stress. When this bar is full, the contract will fail. Good luck. All right, so you have good rolls. I'm gonna give you a 5. Can I not take his 5? Huh. Interesting. All right. Well, let's start here. Oh, no, I see. So I take her thing here, and that's a negative modifier. And then, what if I do this? Let's just go ahead with the positive or negative. This is cool, though. You actually have party members for this stuff. I like it. Okay, she's stressed. Can I don't want to use one of those immediately. I'm gonna go ahead and go to BRB before I start the next roll, actually, since we're close to the ad break. So again, take this time to get yourself water, what you need to do, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Thank you for your patience, everybody. All right, I'm gonna drink a little water before we keep going. Yeah, I like this system. It makes it feel like you're actually building up a cast and a party, which is very different from the first game because you encountered characters, but you were mostly just by yourself. So bringing up a crew and having them help you out is a really cool concept to do for a sequel. All right, should be good audio-wise. All right. So we're gonna be here for a little bit, working on this. Oh, dear Christ. Okay, huh. So let's have you spend your 6 here. And I like that, little encouragements. While on a contract, you can use your push ability to give you an edge in a tricky situation. Push accrues 1 stress, but will give you a key advantage based on your chosen class. You can see your push configuration if you hold your mouse over the button. Your push can be upgraded and configured in the character screen when not on a contract. Reroll the lowest crew dice, huh? Would it be worth it? Nah, I don't. Let's see how this is. It is a demo. Oh, holy damn. Alright, okay, so that's my stress meter. You gain some stress. Your stress increases, you'll have a higher chance of taking damage on your next action dice each time you roll them. Okay, good to know. Okay, so that's how stress works. Oh, she has way smaller of a stress meter. Oh dear God. Okay, and then finally, let's try this. All right. Sweet. You hear the bleeping immediately. Among the chambers and cabling of the drone's interior, something has started counting down. Guys? Nia's voice comes hissing through the suit's comm channel. Does anyone else hear that? Because I'm getting nervous. Shit. Seraphine's voice joins her. This is what I was worried about. Are we screwed? I can't be sure. Seraphine has dropped his voice to a whisper, as if that might make a difference. Either this thing is about to send out a distress call, or it's about to blow. We've got to shut this system down fast. He pauses. Then we move on to the other side, because I bet you there's a surprise waiting for us there too. We good? Nia sounds tense. Am I heading back to the ship or what? Seraphine cuts in. We're good. We keep going. He shuts off the channel. You take a moment in the silence. All right. Time to deal with this fast, then get over to the other side before something happens. All right, but we have no more rolls between us. So we've got to rest for now. Okay. God, what is it with you and your bad rolls to start, Seraphine? Holy shit. Okay. So we got to get this done. Drone death. Disable the core, shut down the broadcast array. Once both are done, this Conway drone won't bother anyone anymore. Okay. Fuck. it's negative on all sides, too. Yes! Oh, positive, thank God. Okay. Shit. No, this isn't worth it. Oh God, this is just bad all around. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right, we have one more supply run left. You have taken damage due to a dice because of the stress. Because of stress, when your dice are rolled at the start of the cycle, your stress indicates if you take damage or not. Higher stress means a higher chance of damage. The white markers above the stress bar will tell you which number of dice will damage. Oh no. Okay, so I take actual damage if I have things on my dice. Okay, each dice has 3 dice health. When this is depleted, dice will break and must be repaired to use normally. Okay, so I was wrong. It's not disabled when your shit's lower. It's just, oh, it gets broken and you have to fix it. Okay, so I have to very much be careful when it comes to my stress. Oh man, this is not good. If we could just get one neutral. Shit. No. So because we miss on an interface, we are not doing so hot here. Nah, she's almost down in stress. What do damage dice do? Okay. Got that done. We may be dead. Okay. Okay, she's not wanting to continue. That's fair. Now is she out completely? No, she's back. You have all used all your energy and now starving. While starving, gain 1 stress per cycle. Oh, God. Well, I think we bit off more than we could chew for now on this one. But we've got some positive rolls. Yes? Yes! Okay. The thrumming, pulsing interior of the drone goes still for the first time since you boarded it. You look across at Seraphin and Nia and share a smile. You all exhale loudly. You all exhale so loudly it can be heard over the suit's shared comm channel. The drone is dead. One less piece of Conway shit to worry about, Nia grins. We killed it. Don't get too excited, Seraphin cuts in. It was looking pretty rough when we got here. You make your way back to the hull, the drone now faintly rolling in one direction. Rolling in one direction. Its stabilizer's offline. Nia catches up with you as you glide towards the rig. We make a pretty good crew, Sleeper. What will your brother think? Nia tuts. Don't go ruining it by bringing him into this, she grins. Maybe he'll never find out. You reach the rig's airlock and take one last look at the dark hull of the drone. It catches the light as it rolls into the vacuum. At some point in the near future, this drone will likely be smashed into pieces by one of the many asteroids of the belt, spread across this place as twinkling dust. The thought pleases you, as does the thought of all that cryo hexport now owes you. Time to go collect. All right. Map. Contract concluded. You can now travel back to the hub. Once you leave, you will not be able to return. Leave the contract. Leave. After docking at Hexport, Seraphin lets go of the controls and leans back in his chair. Nia leans over to you. Thank you, Sleeper. She stretches. I know you took a chance on me. Glad to have you. Nia smiles an infectious smile. Feels good to make a contract work. Seraphin smiles. No matter how we pull it off. It's hard not to agree, and it feels better when the Hexport courier comes with a lockbox full of chits. Lane may still be hunting you, but this should help the effort to slit his net. Suddenly you hear a familiar voice. Nia! Femi glides into view, approaching from the docks. He fixes you with a stare. What are you playing at, Sleeper? Nia wanted to come. You go to speak, but Nia drifts forward, cutting you off. Don't come throwing your weight around, Femi. I can make my own decisions. She glances back at you. Sleeper took me at my word, and I'm grateful. Femi is fuming. Did they now? He turns to you. Well, if you were working for Sleeper, I suppose they paid you well. Nia looks away. Well, I asked, so... Femi smiles. Oh, so they aren't paying you? Seraphin crosses his arms. Let's keep this civil. You realize this is the first time he's meeting Femi. We are being civil. Seems like Nia is owed her share. Femi fixes you with a severe look. Pay Nia. You grab a third of the chits from the lockbox and hold them out to Nia. She takes them sheepishly. All right then, Femi smiles. We're good here. He turns to leave. Nia mouths a sorry and follows Femi across the docks. Seraphin watches them go. You sure know how to pick 'em, Sleeper. He shakes his head. He turns away and heads back along the dock bridge. I just hope we aren't going to end up 70 cryo short when we need to get out of here. I mean, we got some money out of that, so that's good. You can just complete a drive and earned an upgrade point. Yeah, so we only have 2, though. Let's go with that. And we need to eat. There. Now. Anything else on the contract board? No. So I'm guessing that's just the only contract we get in the demo. Let's get some supplies and fuel. Actually, let's fill our supplies up and our fuel. Cut down a lot of our cryo, but we need that if we're gonna have, like, the net positive from the contracts will be nice. Now. Let's rest, actually. do this. Big stress relief. One more stress relief, and then see what else we could do with the one action we've got left. So yeah, we still need the piping for that. Food? Nah. Let's go warehouse. May as well. Earn a little more cryo, end the cycle, and then we can try for the other thing for the shop guy. Oh god, yeah, my dice are fucked. Oh no, that's not good. Oh dear. Alright, well, Nia can't join us. Well, Nia probably can join us again. Just need to get to a selection screen. Speaking of, we've got enough fuel now. Actually, do we? There we go. Okay, it didn't update from the 4 I had earlier. I was like, what the fuck? Alright. Yeah, so Karsten. Let's do this. So, not available, I'm guessing, because of earlier. So, we're gonna go with these two. Travel to contract. Alright. The Solheim derelict fills the cockpit windows, all twisted plates and skeletal strutwork. You watched it in horror and fascination as Seraphin completed the approach, both of you silent in the presence of this decaying beast. Now, as you settle beside it, Seraphin is the first to break the silence. This thing is already dead. He shakes his head. It's a corpse, Sleeper. He nudges the ship closer, looking for a place to dock. I touched this thing too hard, it'll crumble into dust. What were you expecting? I was expecting... Seraphin squints as he adjusts the rig's thrust. A scrap contract, like you said. Not a death trap. Take us up there. That's the bridge. Junie points towards one end of the ship, and both you and Seraphin turn around, having forgotten she was even in the cockpit. She hasn't said a word since you departed. She glances at both of your bemused faces. What? She looks away. Sorry, that's where we need to go. She stops pointing. Seraphin nods towards Junie. She's not wrong, Sleeper. The bridge would be a good start. Assess the wreck first. Junie settles silently back into her seat. She looks away, out of the cockpit. You are unsure if she is upset or just embarrassed. I just noticed my fucking rolls. Oh god, this is gonna suck. Carefully, Seraphin brings the ship close to the derelict and guides it along the hull. The rig's lights ripple over the broken surface, finding gaps and cracks everywhere. It seems remarkable that the derelict is still held together. Shit, Seraphin hisses as a huge spinning piece of debris drifts in front of the cockpit. He pushes the rigs down beneath it, squeezing between the debris and the hull. And as he does so, an ear-splitting screech signals the rig scraping across the derelict's skin. You freeze for a moment, waiting for the breach sirens to sound. But the moment passes and you relax. You glance at Seraphin. His face betrays no emotion. This isn't safe. Seraphin shakes his head. I'm going to find somewhere better to settle the ship. Then we need to suit up and work our way along the hull on foot. You look back at Junie and see her still in her seat, eyes wide. You okay? Junie looks at you, and there's a sudden, unfamiliar hardness in her eyes that surprises you. Then a moment later, it is gone and her gaze softens. I'm okay. She smiles a flat smile. Don't worry. Seraphin brings the ship away from the derelict's hull an inch at a time, then slowly brings it round to settle close to a mostly intact hull plate. This section is fairly free of debris. He nudges the ship a little, or this section is fairly free of debris. He nudges the ship a little closer. We should be good to hold here. Seraphin unclips from his seat, and you and Junie follow suit. As you all glide down towards the airlock, Junie silently follows, though you can't help but feel judged. As you reach the airlock, Seraphim begins suiting up. If we are lucky, that little collision hasn't started a cascade that will end with this place coming apart under our feet. Seraphim violently kicks his legs into a set of Ava trousers, clearly irritated by his own carelessness. It wasn't your fault. Seraphim shoots you a look. Fault isn't going to matter when we are floating off into the black. This is a delicate job, Junie says quietly, almost to herself. The data core will be fragile. She casts a furtive glance in the direction of you and Seraphim. Very fragile. Understood. Junie nods appreciatively. The rest of the preparation process takes place in tense silence, each of you considering the delicate job ahead. You suit up too. Though you don't need a helmet to breathe, you slide one on and lock the seals for protection. This wreck isn't going to give up its salvage easily. Yeah, so since you're in an artificial body, you actually don't really need protection against the vacuum of space, but your body is still very much like in danger of getting battered by stuff. The core should be near the bridge, maybe even inside it, but there's a lot of wreck here, and there might be good salvage tucked away in the cargo hold. Once the suits are on and the seals are checked, you cycle the lock and stare out at the vast expanse of the twisted hulk before you. Time to go to work. Alright, so we have 2 points here. Oh god, your rolls! What the fuck? Oh my god, what the fuck? Holy shit. Oh my god, what the fuck? These rolls. A casket, a coffin. Like, there is this meme, I guess, on TikTok that went around about, like, what do you do for, like, what do you call this in English? And somebody did it with Richter and Dracula from Castlevania Rondo of Blood. And it's just Castlevania sprites with different things. And I don't know, Posh Dracula makes me laugh, where he's going like, a casket, a manor, and just, it's been in my brain lately. There we go. Well, 1 stress. All right, cargo storage. Ooh. Scrap survey. So Junie's got a pretty high amount of stress. Or low, well, she gets stressed easily. All right, so she's on that. And me and Seraphim are for this. Oh my god, I have some shit rolls. Contract stress has triggered a crisis. A crisis will add 1 contract stress per cycle unless resolved at the crisis location. Are you serious? Okay, where's the crisis location? What's not helping is that I started off with some pretty bad rolls too. Good God. Okay. Let's rest, I suppose. We have to end the cycle. I have no rolls left. All right. Okay, better. Much better. All right, let's end this shit. There. So that's now safe. Junie, you take this. And then we can end this off. Deep bays. Extract raw scrap. Okay, so that's a job for me. But that's probably for extra stuff to sell later. So... force the lock. The derelict stress is making me nervous. Oh no. Where now? Okay, here. Oh, fuck me. Okay, we have to be way more careful right now. Alright, we'll spend his last roll. God damn, I'm getting some bad luck here. Alright. Oh, we can't do it while we're here, huh? Okay. Can't do it while on contract. Fair enough. I do like how extensive this demo is. It's very nice to be able to get to try this out. Wow, a 6 and a... Oh no, my rolls. A workshop. Where could I find a fucking workshop? I'm not taking risks here. All right. The bridge of the derelict lies silent. The pale beams of your suit lamps catch rows of terminals and clouds of glittering dust. Wires wave like seaweed, and the whole scene appears as if underwater. Chaotic, but still. Junie glides past you, disturbing the dust and taking you by surprise as she does. She has been a stoic presence so far, but in this moment she appears drawn forward by some force of curiosity. You watch as she bats away debris and begins checking terminals. What are you doing? Junie doesn't seem to hear you, or at least is ignoring you. She is already prying an access panel off of one of the most intact-looking terminals, and as she does, pulls off rust color the vacuum around her red. Wait, puffs of rust color the okay. Approach. She turns back to the terminal and finishes prying off the plate. Then, quickly, she reaches inside, fishing around for something. Her hand comes back out with a waving cable topped with a thick connector. As soon as she sees it, she slips a keyboard-sized deck out from somewhere on her person. She runs her hand across the back until she finds the right port and slots the connector. All of this happens in a few seconds, the routine practiced and precise. It is hard not to be impressed. Not your first Solheim ship? She glances at you, a nervous look on her face. Does she think you were accusing her of something? She shakes her head and goes back to work. Junie's fingers dance across the deck's keyboard, and a burst of static lights up the Solheim terminal screen. The sudden bursts of light and color takes you by surprise. Junie's fingers tap away, the terminal screen flashing with blocks of color and lines of code. It buzzes and vibrates, its long-dead systems forced back into a chaotic life. And then all at once, it goes dark. The terminal is dead. Shit! Junie hisses beneath her breath. Useless! You cannot tell if the insult is directed at the terminal or herself. What are you doing? She looks up at you, as if she was just waking from a dream. Looking for something useful. She pauses. Useful for the contract, that is. She glances down. A map of the ship. Plans, you know. The cradle with the data core can't be far. She pushes off from the terminal, gliding away from you. I'll start looking. She calls back and heads to the other side of the bridge. Seraphin glides up beside you. Everything all right? What do you think of Junie? The kid? Seraphin shrugs. You'd know better than me. Keeps to herself. He squints at her retreating form. Seraphin stretches in his suit. I have to admit, it's nice to be back working, especially now that we are the ones who will reap the benefits. He claps you on the shoulder. Feels good to be taking our fate into our own hands. I know it's pretty rough back there, rough there back on Hexport, but out here we're just as likely to get shredded by debris as find the damn data core. But aren't you glad we made a break for it? He pauses and looks down, having asked the question almost by accident. I mean, I am. I just don't want to speak for you. I don't know, it's a lot. Sure. He looks away. I know that. Look, Seraphin checks his suit wrist seals. Once we've got a bit of space behind us, once we've gone the distance, if we manage to get that far, he furrows his brow. Don't feel you owe me. I'm no charity case. You want us to go our separate ways? Fine by me. He meets your eyes. Just do me a favor of telling me to my face. I will. Seraphin nods, but doesn't respond. After a moment, he shines his torch out into the dark, checking the rows of terminals all across the bridge. You watch the glittering dust as it eddies in the beam. Seraphin sighs. Let's get to it. You watch as he crosses the bridge, his torch probing the dark corners. You feel a chill run through your body as you imagine the people that once ran this ship, the Solheim crew, surely long dead. What was it like here before the collapse, when this system was the jewel in Solheim's crown? It's impossible to know. That history is lost to you now. All you can do is pick up what you can from the ruins. Alright, well, we don't have any more rolls and we have to sleep. I'm probably gonna lose these 2 dice next, right? Yep. Oh, that stings. And of course, I'm the only one with a neutral outcome for these and the best rolls on the fuck. Alright, well, can we get this done before the stressors hit? Maybe. Let's see. Wrong thing. Alright, so we gotta rest again. I'm kind of weirded out that we have the options to select these on our ships when we're not in the Hexport. It's like, why do we have the option to do these things if we can't do them right now? There's a horrifying lurch. You are sent spinning through the bay you were crossing in a hail of debris. You watch as the side of the bay silently tear up open in front of you, a gaping black maw toothed with flying debris. You stare into it, your breath heavy in your ears, your eyes wide. Suddenly you feel a tug on your back. Your tether. As you spin back from the sudden arrest of your glide, you see Seraphin holding on to the other end, reeling you toward him. We have to go, Sleeper. His voice comes urgently over the comms channel. This place is done. You both make your way through the splitting derelict in silence, charting a path through what were once passages but now twisted tubes, like the intestinal tract of some dead creature. Eventually you make it out onto the surface and find the rig still tethered, but gashed with debris and scars. You and Seraphin exchange concerned glances. We are going to pay for this. He looks over the damage. Let's hope she still flies. You tether together and push off from the hull, Seraphin guiding you through the debris. Below you, the derelict is exploding in slow motion. tearing apart into a swarm of razor-edged shards. All this and no core, Seraphin fumes, now the rig's torn up too. You don't have much to offer in answer. He's right. It seems the job was a disaster. You just hope it isn't terminal. It's gone. Junie's voice comes through faintly over the comms. She must already be on the ship. The whole ship is falling apart. No shit. Seraphin quickly answers back. Contract's a bust. What a waste, Junie says quietly, and then the channel clicks off. You arrive at the rig's airlock and bundle yourself inside. Noticing the exterior damage, it looks mostly superficial, but it will no doubt take its toll on the ship. Once you are back in the cockpit, you look out at the derelict's shattered form. It seems you'll be its last visitor. All right. Yeah, I was wrong. Okay, that's unfortunate. Well, we have to break the news that we can't get, so we're fucked. I have one roll left. I have no workbench to be able to restore my dice. Yeah, running out of time to escape Lane. In 5 cycles, he'll come by. Oh no. As you arrive into Hexport, Junie speaks up from the back of the cockpit. I need to speak to both of you. On the journey back, you notice a change in Junie, a hardening, and now she seems very different to the nervous hacker you first brought with you. I know we failed to extract the core, Junie sighs, but I wanted to be honest with you about why I came to you. I don't work for Karsten. Perhaps that was obvious, and I didn't want to bring in the core. You and Seraphin exchange glances. You would have taken it? She looks away. I don't know, Sleeper. Yes, perhaps I would have, but I also would have spoken to you. Explain myself. Do you know how many of those cores are left intact? Junie suddenly looks gripped by emotion. Like it or not, we live in Solheim's shadow, in their ruins, and yet we know almost nothing. What chance do we have of understanding how we got here when others like them, like Senatstad and Conway, are descending on this system? This station and most of the other inhabitants of the belt are built on a Solheim foundation. She frowns. Yet we are too busy scavenging them to take the time to look for answers. Men like Karsten want nothing but the raw materials of cores like the one we lost. She shakes her head. But we can do better. We could learn our history and how the system was settled. We could learn the technology we build ourselves on. We could uncover Solheim's crimes and seek to make amends. She meets your eye. We could see beyond survival, towards something else. You have never heard Junie speak like this, and you realize what you have taken for nervousness was actually control. This, the person in front of you, mourning a data core, is the real Junie. Not that it matters now. She glances away. It's all lost now. Keep your honesty. Seraphin cuts in. It's worthless to us. He completes the landing protocols and begins shutting the rig's engines off. We don't have the time for confessions. Junie looks crestfallen. Karsten won't come for you, if that's what you are worried about. He's ignorant and stubborn, but he isn't vengeful. This is not what we are worried about. Seraphin gives her a pointed look. Explain to Junie. You tell Junie about the feed lines Karsten has, about you and Seraphin fleeing something, and that you can't run any further without them. Junie nods along, her eyes darting back and forth as if trying to calculate something in her mind. Seraphin turns to you. If you have any bright ideas about how to get those feed lines, now would be the time, Sleeper. There's another way, Junie interrupts. I could help you steal the feed lines. She stares at both of you with determination. Seraphin looks at you with raised eyebrows. It seems he is noticing a change in Junie too. Karsten is an idiot. I can hack his security and you can pull them out of there. She looks at Seraphin. You look tough. We can do it. Seriously? Or why help? Junie looks between the two of you. Hexport hasn't exactly been kind to me. You two trusted me, even though I didn't deserve it. I'm not used to that. I want to repay it. Not to mention that Karsten is probably ripping you two off. Even if you get enough cryo, what's to say he won't raise the price? Trust me, he's no good. I was trying to deal with Karsten to get those derelict coordinates from the moment I arrived here, and he ran me in circles. She shakes her head. Seraphin is watching her closely. Even if I do take your word at it, and take your word, which, given everything, seems a little tough, how do we even do this? He raises an eyebrow. You were telling me we just walk in there and take the feed lines? Look, I get it. You don't trust me. She pauses. But what if I have a vested interest in this working out? There's nothing left for me here. And I don't much feel like hanging around waiting for Karsten to figure out my involvement in all this. I need safe passage. You need to feed the feed lines to grant it. She allows herself a smile. See where I'm going with this? Seraphin sighs. I don't like it, he pauses, but it makes sense. What do you think, Sleeper? We all get something. Exactly, Junie smiles. Let me prepare. I'll head to Factory Row and scope the place out. Meet me there and we can work out a plan. She glances between the two of you. Trust me, we can find a way. We will keep it simple. Clean. Simple is good. Agreed. Seraphin cuts in. His dark look betrays his concerns. I'll go scope out the bay we need in Factory Row. We should split up. Less likely for Karsten to suspect us. Meet me there in a few and we can finish setting up. Junie unclips from her seat, floating up. I want to show you I can be trusted. That we can do this. She looks between the two of you. Believe that. Please. And with that, she slips away down the passage towards the airlock and hexport beyond. You look at Seraphin. I'm saying nothing, Sleeper. He unclips from his seat too. Either this is the kind of mess you have to go through to get out to the other side, or it's the kind that you never escape. Either way, we are in it now. He leaves the cockpit. You stare at the chaotic lights of hexport and wonder if anything in the steward belt ever runs smooth. All right, and that is the demo for this. So I can say for certain that I'm really feeling the same atmosphere and writing style with this for from the first game, and I enjoyed this thoroughly. So yeah, this game's coming out in early 2025. I don't think there's any release date stated yet, but needless to say, I'm very excited for this game. I really enjoyed the first game a lot, and if whether or not I'll stream the final game, I think I might. I'm very interested in the story. I like that we're on the run and that it's a constant moving force of a story as opposed to staying in one spot and having things be around you, which is great. It was, like, as I said, Citizen Sleeper 1 was really, really good, but this is very much a, hey, we're in a constant motion because we're on the run. So, yeah, very cool. I like that. So, with that said, please go give this a wish list and be sure to support the final game when it's released fully. So, that is Citizen Sleeper 2.